My friends, I stand before you today not as a man who has never tasted defeat, but as one who has learned that defeat is merely a word, a temporary condition, nothing more than a pause in the great march of human endeavor. I have seen empires rise and fall. I have witnessed the darkest nights of civilization, and I have stood beneath the brightest dawns of victory, and through it all one truth has remained constant, unchanging, eternal. Never, never, never give up. These words are not merely a slogan to be printed on a poster and forgotten. They are a way of life. They are the very essence of what separates those who achieve greatness from those who merely dream of it. They are the difference between a nation that survives and a nation that thrives. They are the line that divides history's victors from its footnotes. When I was a young man, I failed the entrance examination to Sandhurst not once but twice. Twice I was told I was not good enough. Twice the door was slammed in my face, and twice I returned determined that the third time would be different. And it was. But that was merely the beginning. In 1915 I was blamed for the disaster at Gallipoli. Thousands of brave men lost their lives, and the finger of blame pointed directly at me. I was forced to resign from the Admiralty. My political career seemed finished. I was 40 years old, and it appeared that my time in the sun had come to an end. The newspapers mocked me. My colleagues abandoned me. Even my friends quietly distanced themselves. But I did not give up. I went to France and served in the trenches. I learned. I reflected. I prepared myself for the next opportunity. And when that opportunity came, I was ready. You see, my friends, giving up is the easiest thing in the world. It requires no courage, no strength, no character whatsoever. A child can give up. A coward can give up. Anyone can throw down their tools and walk away. But to continue, to persist, to push forward when every fiber of your being screams at you to stop, that requires something special. That requires the kind of spirit that built empires, that crossed oceans, that climbed mountains, that split the atom and reached for the stars. Think of the great achievements of human history. Did the men and women who accomplished them have easy paths? Did success fall into their laps like ripe fruit from a tree? No. Every single triumph of the human spirit has been won through persistence, through determination, through an absolute refusal to accept defeat as final. Consider Thomas Edison, who failed 1,000 times before he successfully created the light bulb. When asked about his failures, he said he had not failed. He had simply found 1,000 ways that did not work. That is the spirit I am talking about. That is the attitude that changes the world. Consider Abraham Lincoln, who lost election after election, who suffered business failures, who endured personal tragedy, who was mocked and ridiculed. Yet he persisted, and he became the man who saved the American Union and freed millions from bondage. Consider the Wright brothers, who were told by experts that human flight was impossible, that they were wasting their time, that they should give up their foolish dreams, but they did not listen. They continued, and they changed the course of human history. In 1940, Britain stood alone against the Nazi tyranny. France had fallen, Belgium had fallen, Holland had fallen, Norway had fallen, Poland had fallen. Across the Channel, Hitler's armies prepared for invasion. His air force filled the skies. His submarines prowled the seas, and many people both here and abroad believed that Britain too would fall. They believed it was only a matter of time. They believed resistance was futile. I received suggestions that we should negotiate, that we should seek terms, that we should accept the reality of German domination. But I said no. I said we would fight on the beaches. We would fight on the landing grounds. We would fight in the fields and in the streets. We would fight in the hills. We would never surrender. And we did not. Our brave pilots took to the skies in their Spitfires and Hurricanes, outnumbered, outgunned, exhausted beyond measure. They fought day after day, night after night. They did not give up. Our sailors braved the Atlantic, facing U-boats and storms, bringing the supplies that kept us alive. They did not give up. our soldiers, our factory workers, our firefighters, our nurses, every man, woman, and child in this nation refused to accept defeat. And because we did not give up, we are free today. Now I know what some of you are thinking. You are thinking that your struggles are not as dramatic as a world war. You are thinking that your challenges are smaller, more personal, perhaps insignificant in the grand scheme of things. But let me tell you something. Every struggle matters. Every challenge is significant. Every battle you face, whether it is in business, in your personal life, in your health, in your relationships, every single one of these battles is important because it is your battle. It is your life. And you owe it to yourself to fight it with everything you have. Perhaps you are a student who has failed an examination. Perhaps you are a businessman whose venture has collapsed. Perhaps you are an artist whose work has been rejected. Perhaps you are someone struggling with illness, with loss, with circumstances that seem overwhelming. I say to you, do not give up. The examination can be taken again. The business can be rebuilt. The art can be refined. The illness can be fought. The loss can be endured. The circumstances can be changed. But only if you continue. Only if you persist. Only if you refuse to accept defeat. I have lived through 2 world wars. I have seen the very worst that humanity can do to itself. I have seen cities reduced to rubble. I have seen civilization itself hanging by a thread. But I have also seen the incredible resilience of the human spirit. I have seen people rebuild from nothing. I have seen courage in the face of terror. I have seen hope bloom in the darkest places. And I have learned that human beings are capable of far more than they think they are. When we are pushed to our limits, we discover that those limits were illusions. When we think we cannot take another step, we find that we can take 1,000 more. When we believe we have nothing left to give, we discover reserves of strength we never knew existed. This is not some mystical concept. This is biological fact. Your body, your mind, they are designed to survive, to adapt, to overcome. But you must give them the chance. You must not quit before the miracle happens. Think of a seed buried in the ground. It sits in darkness, surrounded by soil, seemingly lifeless. If that seed could think, it might believe that its situation was hopeless, that it was buried, that it would never see the light again. But the seed does not give up. It continues to grow. It pushes through the soil. It breaks through the surface, and it becomes a mighty tree. You are that seed. Your challenges, your difficulties, they are merely the soil through which you must push. And if you continue, if you persist, if you refuse to give up, you will break through. You will see the light. You will grow into something magnificent. I am not telling you that persistence guarantees success in the form you originally imagined. Sometimes the universe has different plans for us. Sometimes the path we thought we were on leads somewhere unexpected. But I am telling you that giving up guarantees failure. If you stop, if you quit, if you surrender, then you will never know what might have been. You will spend the rest of your life wondering what would have happened if you had just kept going for one more day, one more week, one more month. And that, my friends, is a tragedy far greater than any temporary setback. Let me speak plainly about failure, because failure is inevitable. If you are attempting anything worthwhile, you will fail. You will fail repeatedly. You will fail spectacularly. You will fail in ways you never imagined possible. This is not a pessimistic view. This is reality. Failure is the price of ambition. It is the cost of trying to achieve something meaningful. Show me someone who has never failed, and I will show you someone who has never tried anything difficult. The question is not whether you will fail. The question is what you will do when you fail. Will you learn from it? Will you adjust your approach? Will you become stronger, wiser, more capable? Or will you give up? I have made more mistakes in my life than I can count. I have made errors of judgment. I have backed the wrong horses. I have trusted the wrong people. I have pursued strategies that did not work. And yes, I have faced consequences for these mistakes. But each mistake taught me something. Each failure prepared me for the next challenge. Each setback gave me knowledge that I could not have gained any other way. If I had given up after Gallipoli, Britain would have had a different leader in 1940, and the outcome of that war might have been very different indeed. The world might be a very different place. So you see, my friends, your persistence is not just about you. Your refusal to give up affects others. It inspires them. It encourages them. It shows them what is possible. When you keep going despite the odds, you give permission to others to do the same. You become a beacon of hope in a world that desperately needs hope. Your children are watching you. Your colleagues are watching you. Your friends are watching you, and they are learning from your example. What lesson do you want to teach them? Do you want to teach them that when things get difficult, you quit? Or do you want to teach them that when things get difficult, you fight harder? The choice is yours. Now let me address something important. Never giving up does not mean being stupid. It does not mean continuing with a strategy that clearly is not working. It does not mean ignoring reality or refusing to adapt. Intelligence requires flexibility. It requires the ability to change course when necessary. But changing course is not the same as giving up on your destination. If you are trying to reach the top of a mountain and you encounter an impassable cliff, you do not give up on reaching the summit. You find another route. You adjust your path. You learn from what did not work and you try something different. That is not failure. That is wisdom. The great commanders in history were not those who stubbornly pursued the same tactics regardless of circumstances. The great commanders were those who adapted to changing conditions while never losing sight of their ultimate objective. Napoleon was a master of this. So was Alexander. So was Nelson. They understood that persistence means being relentless in pursuit of your goal, not being inflexible in your methods. I have changed my methods countless times. I have switched parties. I have reversed positions. I have admitted when I was wrong and adopted new approaches. But I never gave up on my fundamental beliefs. I never abandoned my commitment to freedom, to democracy, to the dignity of the individual. I never stopped fighting for what I believed was right. That is the kind of persistence I am talking about. You must also understand that the darkest hour comes just before the dawn. This is not merely a poetic phrase. It is often literally true. Many people give up when they are closer to success than they realize. They have endured 99% of the struggle, but they quit before completing that final 1%. They are like a miner who digs through mountains of rock and gives up just feet before striking gold. How tragic, how utterly tragic. In 1941, when the Soviet Union entered the war, and later when America joined us, I knew that victory was inevitable. But it took 4 more years of brutal fighting to achieve that victory. 4 more years of sacrifice, of suffering, of loss. Imagine if we had given up in 1942 or 1943 or 1944 thinking that victory was taking too long. We were so close, but we could not see it yet. We had to persist. We had to continue. We had to refuse to give up, even when we were exhausted, even when we could not see the end. And in 1945 we prevailed. So when you are struggling, when you feel like you cannot go on, remember that you might be much closer to success than you think. Remember that the universe often tests us most severely, just before granting us what we seek. Remember that breakthrough often comes at the moment when most people would quit. Do not be most people. Be extraordinary. Be relentless. Be unstoppable. I am an old man now. I have lived a long life full of adventure, triumph, disaster, and everything in between. And if I could leave you with one piece of wisdom, one lesson learned from 8 decades of experience, it would be this: never, never, never give up. Do not give up on your dreams. Do not give up on your family. Do not give up on your principles. Do not give up on yourself. Do not give up on humanity. Do not give up on the future. The world needs people who refuse to quit. It needs people who will stand firm when others fall. It needs people who will carry the torch when darkness falls. It needs people like you. So go forward from this moment with renewed determination. Face your challenges with courage. Meet your obstacles with creativity. Greet your setbacks with resilience. And remember, success is not about never falling down. Success is about getting up one more time than you fall down. It is about continuing when others stop. It is about believing when others doubt. It is about fighting when others surrender. This is your moment. This is your time. This is your chance to show the world what you are made of. Will you take it? Will you rise to the challenge? Will you refuse to give up? I believe you will. I believe in you. I believe in the unconquerable human spirit that has carried our species from caves to cities, from darkness to light, from bondage to freedom. That spirit lives in you. It burns in your heart. It flows through your veins. It is your birthright and your inheritance. Claim it. Use it. Let it guide you forward. And never, never, never give up. Thank you.